NTL Sports here. Episode 126. NFL Week 9. We're just about at that mid-season point. So we'll probably do a mid-season recap next week. But going into Week 9, still got some great games on the slate. So we'll go through those. And then probably got, sprinkle in a little UFC, a little NBA, pick'ems, stuff like that. So with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. NFL Week 9 games of the week. Now we got Thursday night football. Tomorrow night, I think we got Jets and Houston, the Texans, right?
Yeah, way more.
For the
Honestly,
Thursday
it's
game.
way more pressure on the Texans this week than it is the Jets.
Jets are a 2-point favorite. How do we feel about this? I'm very surprised, honestly.
Well, it's kind of like this. Tonight's the night, or tomorrow night's, whenever you can think about it. The Jets' whole season revolves around this game. Whether or not they just blow it all up, you got Devontae Adams. Well, Garrett Wilson and Rodgers just aren't working. Rodgers is going to convince you he could play another year. You're going to fall for it. In reality, the Texans are going to win. But this is where the night where, the Jets make this grand stand and the Texans are 1 week out of just losing their top wide receiver or one of theirs. And then they just kind of play like weird because of the fact. That's what we'll blame it on. But in reality, it's just going to be one of those Texans should win. Low-key, all the pressure's on them because you can't lose to these Jets. They look horrible, especially if you're trying to prove a point that you're a good playoff team. And the Jets are pretty much looking at no playoffs at the moment.
Yeah, so how do we feel about, Stephon Diggs out for the season, torn his ACL, Nico Collins still out, so they basically just left with Tank Dell. I think Joe Mixon is in and out the lineup at times, so how do we feel about, them, I guess, being healthy enough to win this game or the offensive line is kind of shaky right now, so how do we feel about all that?
Well, in my honest opinion, that's the biggest problem with the game for them, is they should win this game. Everything is in place for them to win. One team is horrible. The other team is... it's just missing parts. But the problem is they're really, really big parts. They're also injured on defense as well. They're missing some kind of off-the-radar studs as well. And it's just one of those nights where you see the Jets. I mean, if you look at the Colts game, the Texans didn't really prove a whole lot that they were better than the Colts, and the Colts quarterback went 10 for 32. I feel like Aaron Rodgers can do a little better than 10 and 32.
Even at his advanced age and his limited mobility, I think he can do a lot better than Anthony Richardson. But I guess we'll see, right? I'm going to go out on a limb and take the Jets on this one. I feel like, like you said, make or break. I feel like Aaron Rodgers has one more make or break game left in him. But again, that was what we said last week, so who knows? Okay, Lawrence, I'll let you go first for first game of the week. What are we looking for?
No. I'm looking at this board, and I had things in my head, and now I'm just rethinking them. Because a part of me thinks the Dolphins are going to give the Bills a run for their money, because for some reason the Dolphins play the Bills really well, and the Bills absolutely disgraced them. But now I look at it, and I'm like, just don't see it happening.
Well, it's not super cold in New York. It's only 58.
The Dolphins just lost to the Cardinals at home when Tua came back.
Barely.
It just rubs off.
Yeah.
So I'm also looking at, kind of an upset. Maybe, Panthers take down the Saints a little bit. Now, this is kind of the game I kind of want to talk about. I never talk about him. I almost always say I'm never going to talk about him. And rumors are that Derek Carr may or may not come back, but I'm kind of hopeful that Derek Carr does not come back
Okay.
for the sole purpose being I want to see what Bryce Young can do against another bad rookie quarterback who can't put up high numbers on him. I want to know if the game is a low scoring game, what can he do? Adam Thielen probably comes back. Your defense is still going to be doo doo to all hell, but at least they're in. At least there's a little bit of glimmer of hope. Jalen Coker's been playing really well. He could have another breakout game because the slot is very exposable when you play the Saints. You can exploit that side of the ball for them. So,
Hmm.
and it's divisional opponent. You play them tough. They disrespect you in their stadium. You kind of just give you got to give their Bryce Young a chance.
Fair enough. Saints, started off hot and then they lost every game since. So not much to say about them. And then
We're bad.
you guys are having a little issues, but I mean, it's all good. Nah, my team's having issues too. I was gonna talk about my team, but I mean, we're going against the Raiders, and the things I've been seeing and hearing online make me not want to talk about the Bengals because I'm just gonna rant and be negative. So I'm not trying not to be negative, but I will go with them boys and the Falcons. All right. Honestly, I think for the Cowboys, this is a must win. They have to win this game. I think if they get in 3-5 positioning in their division, I think it's just about a wrap. Um, you know, I saw that Bland, my homie Bland, he's coming back this week. I think Trayvon's been
Yeah.
back, right? But he's questionable. So getting Bland back will be very, very good for them. Another all pro corner locked down the other side opposite of Trayvon. So that'll help their defense. I don't know if Parsons will be back. Don't know if that's the case, but regardless, I'm expecting. I, you see the over under 51. I don't know. I think the Falcons defense has been good enough to not let people score all over them. And, Dallas has their own offensive woes, especially in the run game. So I would probably go under on these. I'm typically, the one that says go over on these games, but this is one that I will say, okay, this is probably one that's going to go under. Um, I think it will be close just because with Bland back, I don't think Kurt will be able to, cut up the defense all that much like he would have if Bland wasn't there and it was just Trayvon holding down the secondary. But I think Kirk's just been slinging the rock so good. I feel like if he's on a hot streak, he's going to keep slinging the thing, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult this week. So we'll see if they switch to more of a run focus attack because they got two good backs, Algier and of course Bijan. So maybe they switch their game plan. If they do that, then they'll definitely be a lower scoring game because they'll be taking more time in possession. But all that to say, I think the Falcons win this one. Them boys go 3-5, and the panic button will be pushed going into the trade deadline, and then they might make some questionable trades, and then we'll talk about that next week.
Okay, I see where your head's at for them.
All right, second game. What we got? What we got? What we
Well,
thinking?
on my end, right? I think it was like a 1 week wonder. Don't not buying into it too hard. I'm gonna go with the Chargers to beat the Browns. I know they're in Cleveland, but I think the
Oh,
Chargers walk in there.
yes,
They're
yes.
good enough defense. So if we're looking at it from this perspective, the Chargers are fifth on third down. The Browns are third on third down, stopping the play. So they're both of their defenses are good at that. But the Chargers only give up 13 points per game, while the Browns give up 23. Um, the Chargers are
Mm-hmm.
good against the rush. If the Browns want to get going, they're going to have to run. And honestly, after some trades the Browns did, that passing game can't be so strong. It was just Jameis coming out there and really, Jameis wins those games every once in a while, but he doesn't consistently win them. And the next thing is third down. Chargers on offense are ninth in the league. The Browns are dead last. They're dead
Okay.
last. So there's just a slight advantage for the Chargers defense. They do something really well, and that's get off the field on third downs. And the Browns do something really bad, which is staying on third downs. And honestly,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, their offense outside of that week has been kind of weak. So all that being said, just
This
wrap
is
it up.
true.
Chargers take this one, moves them a little stronger in positioning for the playoffs. They're no longer feeling, I would say, as nervous because they're not teeter tottering. They're getting a little bit more firmer. 5-3 is a strong place to be.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Chargers, they're in kind of a wonky division, but I think if, like you said, they keep playing well, beat the teams they're supposed to beat, they might end up finding themselves in some playoff talks. And like I said, the Browns last week might have been a one hit wonder, which I kind of agree with. I think it was just a fluke, but we'll see how Jameis, plays in his second game as a starter. My second game, if we scroll down, I got Lions Packers. No Jordan Love, right? So Malik Willis is gonna hop in there and take command. Now, Lions defense played very, very well against the Titans, which I mean may or may not be saying something. Titans, they look better without Will Levis, but they haven't looked that much better. So I can't give them too many compliments. But and I think if we look at it, Jared Goff's been playing really well. Just overall, this whole season has been playing really, really well. You can see his stats right here. Basically 1,700 yards, 13 tubs, 4 INTs. So, taking care of the ball, not turning it over, still throwing touchdowns, good yardage. Yeah, I guess against this Packers defense, I think they really going to have to step up if they want to win this one. They're at home. This is a divisional game. They're going to play each other close and pretty competitively. But I'm going to give the edge to the Lions just because, Malik Willis, I feel like he's 3-0 as a, starter slash, guy, at the helm to close the game out. So I think he's done well, but I feel like this is a team, even though, they don't have Aiden Hutchinson, so they don't really have a rush. So maybe he can stay in the pocket a little bit longer and just assess his reads or, just take off if there's a running lane. I don't think Malik Willis, when it comes down to it, I don't think he can put up enough points because I think the Lions will be able to put up points against this Packers defense, even if they do play ultra aggressive. But on the flip side, I don't think Malik Willis will be able to put up all those points. So, with that being said, I'll go Lions. Take that money line and just ride with it. I think it'll be a good game, though. I think this might be the game of the week, honestly. And if we're looking at all the games, this might be the game of the week.
Well, I'm actually going to take a different game to be the game of the week, and I'm going to take the Cardinals yet again. I'm riding with the team to
Ooh.
put some change in my pocket. Let's just say that. I'm going to ride with them at home against
Okay.
the Bears. But yeah, the Bears their locker room has a lot to talk about. Like we said before, the guy who was talking shit and then messed up. Um,
Yep. Him.
One of the things that the Bears lack is like an offensive line. They kind of play week to week, whether they're good or not. Last week they played decent, not very well, but the
Yeah.
Washington front isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I think the Cardinals front can actually make some noise against this Bears front. So I like the matchup department. And then the
Mm-hmm.
secondary, like Caleb Young, he's developing. The Cardinals have a cute little unit back there. It's nothing flashy, it's something amazing, but it makes stops. I mean, it slowed down Tua enough to give Kyler a chance. And I do know that the Bears defense is very, very good. But I just think Kyler is on a mission. We always see Kyler on a mission. Even when he came back last year off injury, he still was finding games to win, even though we shouldn't be winning these games. I mean, he beat the Eagles. I know the Eagles were on a spiral downhill, but they were the Cardinals. They weren't that great. Kyler finds ways to
This is
win
true.
these sort of games and keep his team in contention. And honestly, you got to think about it. The Bears' offense was really bad against Washington, and they didn't get to go home. They're still on the road. They're traveling once again, except for from DC all the way to Arizona. Yeah, I know they stopped in Chicago at some point to practice, and then they're traveling right back again. Cardinals just seem like the obvious choice. The fact that they're only a 1.5 favorite when you're automatically given to be a 3.5 favorite at home means the Bears are actually the favorite by 2.5. But the home field advantage for the Cardinals. Honestly, it feels a little slanderous against the Cardinals because what more do you have to prove to be given the title of favorite at your home?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Who
Because
knows
in
what
technicality, they are
the people
winning
in
their division.
they are they are. Who knows what Vegas is thinking? Like you said, I think it's definitely a little shocking to see them only being a 1.5 point favorite. Uh, if I had to pick a last game, um, I would do Colts Vikings. Now I was gonna say Bucks Chiefs, but I think with the amount of injuries on the Buccaneers, no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans until I think maybe next week or the week after. Uh, Baker's basically playing hero ball. And I think if he would have had at least one of those two guys, it would have been a more competitive game. But I don't think it will be that competitive without two of his top guys. So we'll go with the Sunday night game, Colts Vikings. Old man Joe. We left off on Monday. Basically talking about Anthony Richardson, how he kind of might have lost the locker room. Well, I think he lost his coaching, his favor of the coach, because Shane Steichen came out today and said that Joe Flacco will be the quarterback moving forward. So, you know, we both talked about, they probably win that game versus the Texans if Joe Flacco's in there instead of Anthony Richardson. I mean, he threw 10 of 32, which is unheard of for an NFL quarterback. I know he doesn't have that much experience as a starting quarterback, but 10 of 32 is just atrocious, bro. Like, you might you might just need to sit down. Like, even if you didn't tap out, you just need to sit down and just learn reads and just like how to throw the ball accurate. Like, just watch an old man do it. You know, Joe Flacco's probably at least a 14, 15 year vet at this point. Like, just watch him and how he wheels and deals. Even with his limited mobility at his old age. So I think for the Colts, if they want to stay in it, because at this point it's just them and Houston fighting for the division. I know they lost to Houston twice already, but I feel like they can make up ground with Jacksonville and Tennessee easily. So I think they're still in it for the division. And if they want to, be serious about the playoffs, this is a game they gotta win. The Vikings, I think they just traded. Didn't they just trade for a left tackle as well? So they're adding some pieces, making their playoff push, and they're pretty tough division as well. So honestly, it's a must-win game for both teams, but more so Colts if they really want to kind of put themselves in that playoff talk, contention talk. Now we look at the Vikings. They're going to have to deal with this Colts front. This Colts front really got to the what's his name, C.J. Stroud last week. Even though he doesn't have a strong offensive line, they really pressured him a lot. Made him make some difficult throws, which some of them he made, some of them he didn't. They're gonna do the same to Sam Darnold. You put him under some stress, some duress, he starts to make mistakes, and that's probably your best chance of winning this one. Because Jonathan Taylor, he looked good last week. Hopefully, he can keep that same running energy. And you just got to get some production out of Old Man Joe and some of these receivers, Josh Downs and Pittman Jr. If Old Man can work his magic, I feel like they can win this one, even though they're in U.S. Bank Stadium. I don't know if Minnesota has enough on defense to slow down Jonathan Taylor because he looked like a monster, and Texans defense is pretty good, and he was just running all over the place. So I'm gonna go Colts. The switch at quarterback is just good enough to get them over the hump.
That's a big money line risk. I kind of like the balls on that one. That's a strong one.
Yeah, I think they, with this change, the coach kind of, regains some credibility. And I think the locker room kind of rallies behind this. Let's say they got a veteran who knows how to do it, who knows how to win. They've seen him do it last year. I feel like that gets everyone motivated to get a win on the road.
Yeah, even if it's only one, but we've seen it work for teams. Immediately switch and then get a win and then go back to how it was before. But still, regardless, it's always
Yes,
that one
sir.
win.
All right, Lawrence. Any more picks for this week that the listeners or viewers should watch out for?
I mean, if I was to give you a quick slate of all my thoughts for the league, got the Eagles beating the Jags soundly. I got the Broncos keep hanging tough with the Ravens. If you're the Ravens, honestly, it's a little spooky that Lamar has a question mark next to his name, according to some reports, because he didn't report to practice this morning, but he's not on the injury report, or
Yep.
he was on the injury report. But like, this is no joke. Like, you can't just walk in here without Lamar and think like, for even at your home, you can't just go in here without Lamar and think, oh yeah, we'll still win it. We still got it. This Broncos defense is just very good. He kind of called out his own team at the end of the Panthers game, saying that like, yeah, I wish I would have seen more from the defense because that was a horrible offense.
Yeah, Sean Payton said that.
So one, Carolina she needs to do better this week, which I'm planning on, and two, the Broncos are going to need to do better, especially on the defensive side. They're going to, they just got lit up, and they got to stay close to the Chiefs, who just can't lose. So
Fair enough.
I just picked that to be a low scoring, close game. Take the Bills to win that one against the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins also keep it close, and I think their season's kind of deteriorates from there. I like the Patriots to get another one against the Titans. The Titans just haven't proven enough of anything. You can't lose the Commanders now while they're on their hype train. You just got to ride it. Um, like I said, Chargers all the way. Cardinals. Um, yeah, like you said, the Lions is a good pick. Honestly, I think I would take Rams over Seahawks just because I trust the quarterback play just a little bit better. And then finally, for the last
Yeah.
game, honestly, the way Baker Mayfield plays the Chiefs, I don't be shocked if Baker hands Patrick his first loss.
Wow. Okay.
I
Okay.
still I
I
still like the
mean,
way that offense operated.
yeah. Without the two
Hmm.
guys, yeah. I mean, they're a 9-point favorite. Yeah, anything can happen, especially on a Monday night.
It's gonna be a close one,
I like it.
anyways.
I like it. All right, let's do a little pivot to the NBA. Let's pick some games for tomorrow and Friday. I think those are the only two nights that have some odds out. So, Bucks, Grizzlies. Bucks have looked terrible. Who are the Bucks? They lost to they lost to the Celtics, which is understandable. But then they lost to the Nets on the 27th. I watched little highlights of that game. Uh, it's pretty bad. And the Nets, they took the Nuggets to overtime last night, which the Nuggets are another discussion, Lawrence. The Nuggets are terrible. Back-to-back games going to overtime. They beat the Raptors in overtime. And they beat the Nets in overtime. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Nuggets, but they are terrible. The Bucks are kind of in the same boat. Their stars, even not even stars, just players don't look like they have any synergy, any chemistry. They got their easy win against the Philly, but they've lost three straight. That two of them they should have won, honestly, if they're really serious about contending in the East. And the Grizzlies, um, they lost a close one in Chicago, so I can't blame them there. Then they had a good win against Orlando, which I watched that one. That was a good win. Chicago, I think Ja was out, so I'm not giving them too much slack. So in this one, I'm gonna go Grizz. I think Grizz win at home. I don't trust the Bucks. Any thoughts?
I have not watched enough NBA.
Mm-hmm.
That's only. Oh, I think I might cut out there. I've not watched enough
Yeah, you
NBA
cut out a little
to
bit.
formulate any thoughts yet. So far, my NBA bets have almost all lost, so I'm just the
Oh,
opposite beacon. But I mean, I can't ask you as a side note. What are the Spurs' chances against the Jazz? Another like-minded bad team.
depends if Laurie plays. I think Laurie was out with back spasms the last game. So if he plays, Spurs probably don't win, honestly. But if he doesn't play, then of course you pick the Spurs. Spurs, I think it'll be the back to back because Spurs technically play tonight against the Thunder, which they probably should lose. Chet and Wemby will go at each other. Wemby will be tired for this game versus the Jazz. So I'll look out for the injury report, see if Marketing plays. If he plays, I would take the Jazz, of course. But I'll just wait for the injury report. Mavs, Rockets. Mavs have looked good so far in terms of defense. Luka's been a little shaky for scoring one game. Last game, I think he only scored like 23 or 24, and then the game before that, he scored like in the teens. So his scoring has been a little shaky, but thank goodness he has Kyrie and Clay to pick up the slack. So I'll take the Mavs in this one. And then the 10:30 game, NBA TV, Suns, Clippers. Both teams surprisingly have played well. Clippers have played well without Kawhi, surprisingly. Um, but I would take Phoenix in this one. I feel like they just get too much firepower, and you can see the first game. The Suns won. I expect the Suns to win again. They just get too much firepower for the Clippers. They really need Harden to fire on all cylinders for this to even be close.
Yikes! Not great to hear. Not great news to hear for the Clippers.
That's what happens when your main guy doesn't want to play. Magic Cavs. This will be a good one on ESPN. Both teams are good. Paulo just put up what 50 against the Pacers,
And he
didn't
had
he?
37 a quarter
Um,
and a half.
had 37 at halftime. Very impressive. Cavs have played really, really well. They're honestly whooping the Lakers' ass right now. They're up by like 21 or around 20 as we speak on Wednesday night. I like the new coach, Kenny Atkinson Lawrence. Just watching them in person, he's making some huge adjustments, especially what we called out, the Twin Towers. He's staggering their minutes. So, he's doing the same starting lineup as last year, but we're staggering minutes, right? Where, Jared Allen may play the first 5 minutes or first 4 or 5 minutes. He comes out, Mobley stays in the rest of the first, and then we're staggering Garland and Mitchell. So Mitchell might play 3 4 minutes, and then Garland will play the rest of the first, and then they'll switch and swap like that. So I think that little adjustment has worked well. We'll see if if that mojo lasts throughout the season. But I say take Cleveland. I said take Cleveland. They're at home. They're playing well, like I said. Defense has been good. And I think their offense has. I mean, they found some shooters too. They got this guy, Sam Mitchell or Sam something, but they got some guy on there that can shoot threes, and he's pretty automatic. So look for them to basically play more offense than the Magic.
Plus, last year in the playoffs, both of them only won at home, so it does ring true.
Yeah, we can look back at that as well. Other games on the slate. Honestly, there's a lot of really bad matchups on on Friday night. If we're being real, there's a lot of bad
So,
matchups.
in
So
my
I don't
in your
want to give
personal
you guys any
opinion,
picks.
would you possibly take the Timberwolves to cover a good spread against the Nuggets, or is that a close one somehow?
Oh, they're covering any spread. Any spread you see, I would take. They're playing at home. I'm telling you guys, Nuggets are bad. The Nuggets are bad. I can't believe what I've seen the past couple of days watching them. They are bad. It's inexcusable to go to overtime with both the Raptors and the Nets. Inexcusable. I think they really miss KCP. I don't think this has anything to do with you know the new guys playing or Mike Malone or Jokic. I think they just miss KCP and they don't know how to handle that. So any spread you see on Friday for the Timberwolves, I'll take it.
Alrighty.
Yeah, the rest of the games are just bad. I wouldn't touch any of these. Thus, I had no predictions. We can move on to MMA. I know you said the UFC has a good fight night coming up for Saturday, right?
Saturday, yeah. They do have some good fights on it. I'm surprised Brandon Moreno is the favorite in the main event, but honestly, it's hard to say no given his pedigree. He's been really good for so
Yeah.
long, but I don't know. The Iranian is really, well, what's the best word to say it? Kind of on a tear. I mean, his record speaks for itself. He hasn't looked um, like he couldn't win any fight that he's been in without plausible deniability could kill him. So, how Brandon Moreno holds up to that, given he's getting older up there in age, I just he's been in a lot of fights, a lot of big, big fights. I'm not a Rose Namajunas fan, so I'm always going to take it the other way. So I think I like Erin to win this fight. She is hotter at the moment in terms of streaking. I'm always going to take Derek Lewis, even though this might not be the best matchup for him. Uh, I always got to go with Derek Lewis. So never not going to take that knockout power, that just sheer raw knockout power. And the guy he's fighting with, like, he's not much of a takedown guru. That only plays in the favor of Derek Lewis to get a knockout. And then you round up the rest of the fights. Like Mike Mallet, I'm kind of questioning how he's such a favorite. But then once you like read into the matchup, you can understand it. But I know people are gonna want to lean towards his way. I might honestly tell you to lean the other way and just stay far away from him, because there's a chance that he ruins
Okay.
everything for you. He's the parlay killer. Um, Honestly, Pedro Munoz has not looked good since coming back from injury. Um, you could easily fade him and take the other way, or look the other way against him. And then after that, I think we just start. We know this card is good for one thing, and that is the main card, the last three fights. I think a Victor Henry could be a nice throw in between. He comes from the Contender Series, but just tune in for the main event.
All right, sounds good to me. I'll try to catch this one. I've been off my UFC game for the past couple weeks. I need to get back into it. Um, yeah, I like everything you said there. Any last things we should cover before we head on out?
No, I got nothing else on the mind.
All right, nothing else. So yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening on Spotify, all that good stuff. Episode 126. We're getting up there. We'll catch you next week. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Peace.